Thank you. With respect to the question, is the love still present in the American-Israeli relationship, I would say emphatically yes. In fact, I would say it's a passionate love affair. Why do I say that? And I will start in part in taking a different point of view than my good friend Elliot Abrams, who has, I believe, if I understand it correctly, concluded that President Obama may not have in his heart the requisite love that we Americans would expect from our president. I readily admit, I do not know what love President Obama has in his heart for Israel or any other topic. I don't know what love George Bush, President Bush had, or President Clinton had either. I can judge them, though, on their statements, their deeds, and their actions. And let's look, if I may, let me just add on to what Dennis Ross said a few moments ago here at the conference. The security relationship between the United States and Israel is unprecedented in terms of its depth and its profound engagement. Do you think that happens in spite of the President of the United States? Do you think 200 Pentagon officials traveled to Israel in 2010 and the President is not aware of it? Or the President didn't encourage it? Or in fact, maybe the President actually designed it with his Secretary of Defense. Tell me something, when Turkey uninvited Israel to the joint military exercise in the fall of 2009, and President Obama had to make a decision, what was America to do? The Turks thought we would just, it was a 4-part exercise, the Turks thought we would just withdraw from 1 part, or maybe 2 parts. No. The President of the United States said emphatically to Prime Minister Erdogan, you uninvite Israel, you uninvite America, we're out of it. And then the Italians and the rest of the Europeans left. And what did President Obama do right after that? Did he just withdraw from the region? No. He actually sent the largest contingency of American uniformed military personnel ever to arrive on Israel's shores. Now, again, apparently my dear friend Elliot says that's not enough love in his heart. But I'll tell you who did recognize the love in President Obama's heart. It was the clerics sitting in Tehran. They understood what over 1,000 American uniformed personnel coming into the port of Haifa meant after the Turks uninvited Israel. Let's talk about Israel's participation and then ultimate acceptance into the OECD. A unanimous vote was required. And before Israel's entrance, there were rumors that 1 or maybe more of the nations voting may not support Israel. What did the Obama administration do? Secretary Clinton and George Mitchell called every foreign minister of each nation voting to make certain that the votes were locked down. Love? I think that's a fair amount of love. Let's actually now go to the current last 3 or 4 weeks. We all know it wasn't a group of meetings and speeches without controversy that Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Obama engaged in a few weeks ago. What happened after that? President Obama gets on an airplane, flies to Europe, and what does he wind up spending a good part of his trip doing? Convincing the Chancellor of Germany, or attempting to convince the Chancellor of Germany, the President of France, and the Prime Minister of Great Britain. My children know far more. My 3 children know far more about the state of Israel. They went to Jewish day school. They speak Hebrew. They are enamored with a Jewish culture. But I'll share just one example. My son, who's 18, just got done spending 3.5 months in Israel. His programs sent the kids out, the students out, to spend weekends, Shabbats, with local Israeli families. After the second Shabbat, he called me after Shabbat was over. I said, "How was it, Zach?" He says, "Great." He says, "But you wouldn't believe the language. You wouldn't believe the language that the teenager and the family used regarding Arabs." He said, "If I ever used language like that, Mommy would throw me out of the house." I don't want to blow this up out of proportion, but young American Jews are not liberal. They're progressive. For young American Jews, and it's not just a reflection on young American Jews, it's young Americans. They don't debate anymore gay marriage or gay rights. It's a given. They don't debate abortion rights or the rights of women for choice. It's a given. And what young American Jews have to begin to digest is a degree of liberal thought that is a given amongst Americans' youth that hasn't necessarily been reflected in Israeli society. And that will be the challenge of the American Jewish community in Israel for decades to come, because that's not going away. Thank you very much.